So welcome to Super Dentist Practice Owner Boost Camp Speaker Training Session. So glad that you're here. We talk about what is your why. So this was the start to New Dentist Boost Camp OG #1, why we're doing what we're doing to help dentists of all ages and stages learn, laugh, and feel less alone, to help dentists of all ages and stages learn how to survive, thrive, and not cry in the real world of dentisting.
You know, what are some of the biggest milestones in your life, biggest transitions, and how do they make you feel when you go through those transitions? So we're going to talk about the wild dental nacho world of practice transitions, but before we get to that, let's go back to our life transitions. So what's one of our big transitions? One that I think of is graduating from high school. So it makes you feel excited. You get to leave your parents' house, but nervous because you don't have any money. People are like, you're an adult. I'm like, I'm an adult with no money. It's a pretty useless adult. And you're like, I'm ready to college, don't leave my parents' house. Popular time, it was 1995 for me. I went shopping with my parents. I was like, you need a dust ruffle for your college bed. Like, I cannot show up, Mom, with a dust ruffle to college. That's making a statement. The statement is not, I'm a super chill guy here to have fun. So I'm very concerned about dust. Someone help me put my bed skirt on. So I'm going to take that risk. So you're at college. I mean, what they ask you to do to go to college, you can only do because you want to leave your parents' house. I went to Villanova. They sent us a message midsummer. They're like, we accepted too many people, right? Like, they didn't have control over that entire operation. You're going to have to live in a room with 2 grown adult men and you. And I'm like, all right, I'll do it. I get to leave my parents' house. But I wound up sleeping on the top bunk, so that was good. I did not get the dust ruffle because that would have been really bad. So you're in college, you graduate from there, but that makes you feel excited, you're done, but also anxious. You know, you have to get a real job for most people, but we went to dental school, so we're like, we'll delay that for a few years. Your friends had to go out and get a real job. Then you get to dental school that first day. Everyone kind of remembers the first day. I remember the first person I saw at dental school when we got out of our car, no cell phones. I'm like, that guy looks like he's going to dental school. I'm going to follow him. And you go in as like, you know, this bright-eyed person, like I'm here to learn about teeth. Dental school's like, we're going to make you cry. So, you know, it's a very different experience. But you get through that. You graduate from dental school. I mean, that is like one of the greatest, best days because, you know, you get your diploma on stage in some big ceremony. And you want to be like, I did it, dental school. I won. You do not have control over me anymore. But then, like, you gave us $400,000. There's going to be a lot of control for the next 30 years. You got to pay back these loans. So these transitions, you think about it, they make you feel excited, but also a little weird, right? Like, if you get nachos, you're just fully excited. No one also feels weird about getting nachos. It's just, so it's an interesting experience when you go through these things. Then you have some personal life transitions, like getting married. You know, that's a great day. It's also very serious. Like, we're talking about managing expectations, and I just don't think they manage your expectations for what marriage really is. Like, everyone's laughing because they're married. It's like, when you're doing it, they use these words like, you know, love, happiness, being there for each other. It's like not a full informed consent, right? It should be like, it's way more serious than that. It's like marriage is basically, it is a legal obligation to hang out with the same person for the rest of your life. They put it to you that way, you know. I think people take it more seriously. Like, I'd like to stop hanging out with this person. You're going to need to get a judge involved in that. So that's a serious thing. But all of those things put together, for me, I listed some of them here, all of those things put together, not compared to the biggest game changer of all for me, the biggest transition, and that is having another human being. So this is August 1st, 2014. We're bringing Daphne home from the hospital in her car seat there. So you go into the hospital, it's 2 people, and you leave with a whole extra person. And as you're leaving, you're like, I feel like there should be more rules to this process. I mean, I just came with 2 people, I got an extra person, like, should I be taking a test, like doing jumping jacks, Sudoku, something? But they're like, no, just take them home, take your baby home. And you know, we put more training into baristas at Starbucks than to parents, and that's pretty insane, and sometimes you see that out there in society. But there is a rule in Philadelphia, I don't know if you can tell from this picture, It's a rule that makes no sense at all. You have to bring the child home in a car seat. You do not have to have a car. So you bring this up, and look at the child is like, it's like newborn baby frog. Your wife, that's a lot of effort they have done. I mean, Mary deserves like nachos for a long time for having a child. So like Paul, you got to strap your baby frog into this car seat, which is very difficult, into the room. That's the last thing the nurse says, just like get on out of here. So people are just walking down Broad Street with their child back to their house. The rule makes no sense. It's like a rule from dental school. It's no sense. Like, we got these rules here. How come they make no sense? These are just the rules we've had for 50 years. So I think that, when you go through these transitions and people don't help you with these big life decisions in a meaningful way, and big dentist decisions, you can just have problems, just like we heard yesterday from Rob Montgomery and Jamie Amos. And what I would like to create is just some more space about these transitions and what we're doing, because purchasing a dental practice, where you're going to dentist and anchor yourself for a long time. I mean, this is my brother Jeff and I at the sign at our dad's office. This is us. I was 8 and 3. See, like that face looks like I'm kind of bossing them around there, and I'm like, didn't change much 30 years later. But you go through these transitions. But we had a dad who was a dentist, so we didn't have to dig into all of these things in the same way. But we have purchased multiple practices since there. So if you're thinking, hey, I am done purchasing practices, I've heard people say, hey, I am done having kids, and then I see them again, and there are more kids. So at some point they think it is a good decision to have another child, and we have a satellite practice. Now we're co-parents of this practice here, and we have a satellite practice in Ewing, New Jersey, so you may purchase another practice. And sometimes you have a child, and like, next time I do this, I'm going to do things differently because I made some errors. I learned from it. So we do the same thing with our practice transitions. But people tell me a lot of times, or ask, like, what's it like to own a practice? Is it like having a child? And I would say, yes, it is, but it's not like having an infant, because infants are actually very easy. They're very small. They sleep a lot. You could just pick them up. Like, you can drink a margarita with one hand and hold your infant in the other hand. And that is a true story from Elvez. Some people are like, why do you have a baby at the bar? I'm like, why don't you have a baby at the bar? Don't you love your child? I want to bring her out wherever we go. But see, she's sleeping. But what is it like to have a dental practice? And it's not like having an infant. It's like having Daphne a year ago. It's like having a 3-year-old child for 30 years that never grows up.
Okay, so let's ask you guys.
A lightweight blend of vital
here. Brandon, he's on the phone there. That's pretty on Brandon. We got that. He'll be back in a minute. Morgan Bellis, what could you use to inspire someone to watch in on our production of Mitchell, Laura, Bob D, Darcy, Artie, Sonia from that 7 minutes?
I think the metaphor really shares the emotional experience of owning a practice, and I think we can use that to share about the Boost experience.
Awesome. Serena, how about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's nice to relate it to like real life. Well, dental school is real life too, but just like a different form of your life.
I don't know. Darcy, Mitchell, and Laura's dental school real life. It's some sort of life. It's an alternative universe.
Much worse than real life.
Kate, what could you use to inspire people to watch in?
I love the point of you bring out that they don't really give you that much wisdom leaving the hospital, and there's nothing better than wisdom of people who've been through it before. So the fact that they're going to have such a panel of people that have done this, been there, it's ideal for them to show up so that they can have mentors and people that can give them good ideas and that have been there and done that already.
We only have one person who sat in the audience at Boost. So Darcy, did that remind you of sitting in the audience at Boost, or tell me why you would utilize those emotions to get one of your friends who just bought a practice, dental school friend, to say, hey, you should pay attention to this for these 2 days. You should block out your time. You should sit on your couch, sit at your pool. What's something you heard that you might have found relevant to you?
I think in general, sort of how Morgan said, there is an emotional part of it. And then there's like being a parent, when you go home, everybody has a different personality child, and everyone has a different personality that they bring to their parenting. And it's the same thing in owning a practice. So being able to hear from different people who've had different experiences through their business ownership, and just the transparency behind kind of the not so fun things about it. There's gonna be, not everyone might not relate to my story, but they might relate to something that Laura has to say or someone else has to say. So having just those different perspectives and different walks of transparency of what it's really like.
Yeah, and it's this stuff they don't tell you. Laura, was that the first time you saw that, Laura?
Yes, it is.
So as a recovering dentist, what did I say in there that might have resonated with you along your journey?
Well, comparing having a baby to or buying a practice or owning a practice to having a baby is just spot on. And it makes me always think of when people are unhappy in a marriage, it's like, oh, just have a kid and it'll fix everything, right? And we know that that's not the right solution, but people sometimes think it is. And so that's how I like to compare that analogy with what I'm doing. Is it's not for everyone, right? And if your marriage with dentistry is not great, do not have a baby with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. I like that both in, and also people don't like when I say buying a dental practice is the biggest decision of their life, because they often say who you marry is the biggest decision of your life, and because they're very romantic. So I kind of reframe it as it's the most financially significant decision of your life, because I would argue strongly that it's a much more financially significant decision, because I see people get divorced and one goes to Napa and they're drinking wine, and one's in Florida and they're on the Miami beaches and yada, yada from Seinfeld. They're married to new people 3 years later, both of them. And that's great, right? It is, to get divorced from your dental practice is very difficult financially if you do not like it. Difficult / impossible. And the financial fallout from a bad dental practice purchase, I believe, is just as significant as maybe the fallout from a financial divorce. And I don't think dentists think of it that way. Mitchell, how about you? I don't know if have you ever seen that video?
I've heard you tell the story, but I'm not sure I saw that video before. What I take from that is fun. You remind me of a moment that my wife, Susan, and I remember quite clearly when we left the hospital with our first child, Evan, and we looked at each other and we didn't say anything, but the look was basically, they're just letting us take him?
Yes.
We don't know anything. We can just leave with him. We don't know what we're doing. And you can buy a practice. All you have to do is gather some money together. You get some people, some lawyers to make some documents, and you can find yourself in this. Wait a second. This is mine now? What do I do now? But unlike with the baby, I don't have a work wife I don't have somebody to kind of.
No one wants to come over and help you watch your practice. I mean, people rush over to hold the baby, see the baby. The baby's breathtaking. It's a Seinfeld joke, but people didn't come to Darcy and say, hey, I would love to help you fix up your technology on the weekend of your practice.
Right. So this is a way to kind of prevent that moment by doing some pre-learning, surrounding yourself with people who have kind of been through this before and successfully. So when that moment comes, you're like, oh, this is mine now. You can partially at least say, yeah, I know what to do. That's what I took from.
So,
Yeah.
so we're always doing the work while doing the work. So if I didn't get to you on the Nacho team, only 3 people here don't get to see me every day. Darcy, Lauren, Mitchell. I know that's very heartbreaking to you, but our goal is to get the attention like Gary Vee on this. So now you have the YouTube link of this, and hopefully you've written down some benefits, pain points, positivity. I share with my team, and I share with dental, and we know this as dentists, you can motivate people with positivity. You can motivate people with pain. Hey, you get a night guard. So when you are older, you don't nubbify your teeth and they don't look like nubs. They don't look like nubs. That's one way. The other way is, hey, do you want to spend money on new teeth or a trip to France when you're 70? Maybe you should get that night guard. So that's the pain. So I tell dentists all the time, it's funny online, they say, we want a lot of positivity, but me, Laura, and Mitchell joke around that doesn't get many likes. So when I say I have a course to help you live your best dental life and be successful, 2 likes. I have a course to make sure you don't stay in debt forever and never able to move forward financially. It gets 57 likes, and it's just kind of how our brain works. So not your team, whether you use the scared, like Kate said, of not knowing what to do when you take the baby home from the hospital, the positivity your goal is to use that video and our live stream link to help people watch it. Now, the next point for the speaker one, and I know I have awesome people here, and Darcy, we'll talk about what Darcy's going to do. I'm happy to have her on a panel with me. I'm happy to have you present and interview her. But did anyone see how many minutes that video was at all? It was 7, okay? Did there seem like there was a lot of value in those 7 minutes, Mitchell?
Definitely a
A
ton.
lot of points, Laura Brenner, like a lot of stuff, right? So I want to share with my speakers as I embrace them from last year, and especially watching online, I would really like it if no one calls out that they only get 25 minutes to speak, because that's plenty of time to get your message across. And last year we had way too much of that, because we should be able to deliver a message in 3 minutes, 13 minutes, 43 minutes, and a whole day. So if me, one of the most talkative people out there, can get 7 minutes, 22 minutes is so much time. I have some suggestions for people if they would like to get more content in. Talk faster, talk like me. You don't have to talk like it's a book on tape, or cut out the fluff. This isn't for Darcy, Mitchell, and Laura. This is for any speaker who says, I cannot get it done in 29 minutes. So Nacho team, you can say, look at 7 minutes there. Do you feel like you learned a lot in that video, Andrew, in 7 minutes? I think you're muted, but I could see you.
Definitely learned a lot about
Yeah.
the way dentists kind of go into life same way we do, without a syllabus after we graduate.
Do you think, Laura, that sometimes coaches talk for 47 minutes about their product and unsell what they're doing because they're yappity too long? You think dentists do that, Mitchell, sometimes?
Oh my God.
So
Do we?
this goal is not so ordinary for speakers. It is to get you to be concise, be clear, get you an amazing video that you can use to remember how awesome you were 30 years from now, to get other people to hear you speak. Because if someone said to me, I want to speak at Boost Camp, here's a 72-minute video of me, I would not watch it. Someone said, I want to speak at Boost Camp, let me see what you can do. And they sent me a 19-minute video, I would have my team and I watch that together. So our goal as speakers is there. This is where I'm getting more. You can share your presentation. How long do you get to speak? Unless otherwise noted by me, I am a child of Family Ties. Mitchell, do you watch Family Ties back in the day?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I love
Cheers,
that.
Seinfeld, Modern Family. They got whole story arcs that go up and down and end in 22 minutes. So if you guys can't do it as speakers, I'll help you. There's training. There's a 30 minutes reserved for you. That doesn't mean to talk for 29 minutes and 58 seconds and say bye. If you would like some of my helpful advice, if I was doing my own Boost Camp speech, I would plan to speak for 18 to 22 minutes and have the ability to answer 1 or 2 good questions. What that will do for you, Laura Brenner, if you're talking about burnout, if we answer 1 or 2 good questions, you will look like the expert that you are, and you will hear what hit home for the audience instead of just speaking until the very, very end. How many times you've been in a lecture, Mitchell, and someone goes, I got to speed through these slides because I don't have enough time up here, right?
That's the worst.
And does that make it fun for anyone? So there's
No.
no test. The test is just how happy you are in life. Pretty big test, right, Greg? Pretty big test, Morgan. So unless otherwise noted, there's a 30-minute segment for you. That doesn't mean speak 29 minutes and 58 seconds. Produce what you're doing. If you want any help from me, you can show slides, you can not show slides. You can talk for 5 minutes and do an activity with people. You can talk for 15 minutes and make them do a worksheet. You could talk for 5 minutes and take Q&A. It is your creative space to be as awesome as possible. Some will be CE, some will not be CE. Some will be CE, some will not be CE. If you are on the CE part, Morgan Bellis and Amanda will connect with you about CE rules. If you are not on the CE part, there are no CE rules. At the current time, Morgan, I do want to share this for the audience. Who saw the Seinfeld where Bette Midler was supposed to be the star and the understudy was the star? Raise your hand, okay? And everyone said, oh my gosh, no Bette Midler. So everything subject to change. So I got some mentally flexible people on here, but Mitchell, I might say you're speaking Friday at 3 p.m. And then I tell you a week before you're speaking Saturday at 10 a.m. You're not leaving, are you, right? You weren't going to bail on us, were you?
Oh, that doesn't surprise me anymore at all, Paul.
Yeah. So, and also we're just nutty people, right? So if I tell you you're speaking 1 p.m. on Friday, Laura, and I go, oh, hey, Laura, I want you to be the first speaker on Saturday. It's just an adjustment, but we will give you some ideas. So Morgan, what's the C for Mitchell is on C team or no C team?
He's on the CE team right now.
So what we were going to do, Mitchell, is have your technology part something we could use a C in the future. What that would mean, because Curve is very excited to be there with you, is you cannot go up there and say, use Curve, Curve has a deal, things like that during your presentation. But you talk about the value of cloud-based stuff, right? So right now, think of being on the CE team where your presentation is pure education. Throughout the event, you can talk about Curve, having wine, coffee, or both. After your C is done, I might say, hey, which ones where C is over? We can ask any question you want. I'll ask you about that, but you're on C. What's Laura Brenner, Morgan?
Laura Brenner is also on the CE team right now. She's a morning speaker.
Cool. So Laura, that just means that means I want to CEify your presentation, title, learning objectives like from the past, and there'll be plenty of awesome opportunities to share how people can connect with Lola B's coaching, but you can't get up there and be like, use Lola B's, we got a discount code, we're the best, right? Also, I always think the best lecture ever, Darcy, be like, don't use me for your services. Who are you to tell me not to use me? I'm signing up at the end of this right now, right? So, Darcy, what about Darcy?
Darcy's an afternoon speaker, so she's not on the CE team right now.
So you don't have any C pressure, Darcy, and
Total freedom.
Total freedom. You can say, I use Genevieve.
Gonna go wild.
Yeah, DSN was this. So you can mention things that are specific to services that you've used. And whether you're a C speaker or not, what we would like is a title, a little summary of the points that you would like to get across. If you're seeing some learning objectives. So Darcy, do you want to present as yourself and have me come up at the end and say, hey, great job, Darcy, for like the 8 minutes to Q&A? Do you want me to sit with you on stage and do a panel like we've done online? Either of those is awesome.
Honestly, I'm open and flexible to whatever you think is going to be best. I don't mind speaking and even a combination of that, like having something.
I would love the combination for this reason, because you represent such an avatar and you're not a 45-year-old guy with a beard. So I think like if we could have you do what feels like what Laura did, being some type of 10-minute presentation, you can put a few slides together, 10 to 15 minutes, and then I would come up at the end and extract, pun intended, some good questions.
Okay.
So that would be my preference. I think we'd have two sides to it where they get to just see you without 45-year-old guys standing next to you. So it's just like, oh, that looks like me. I'm a new practice owner. And then when we do the questions, I'll be able to kind of navigate some questions. Perfect.
Sure.
So this is back to our details. This is where it is, the Warwick. Mitchell, you've been to the Warwick, right?
Yeah.
Laura, you've been to the Warwick.
A month or so ago. Yeah, that was great.
This is Darcy's first time at the Warwick. It is an entire 2 blocks away from the Cambria. So this is the location of the event. It is on 17th Street between Walnut and Locust. What questions can I answer about the venue, or Morgan or Nacho team? Do you want to add anything about the venue? We're good with that? All right, good. You should have you'll have a hotel reservation made by us for the nights that you'll be there. Thursday night, we have a kickoff party at 5 p.m. Okay. So I don't know about what happened to Dennis Mitchell. They don't like when their patients are late, but they think time's for them. Friendly suggestion, right? Oh, 5 p.m. I'll show up at 6:22. So this kickoff party at the Warwick, since it is boost camp, we're going to do something cool with something that feels like sponsor speaker matchups. We're going to put you together with people. So your requirement is at 5 p.m. to be at the Warwick, ready to drink and eat something and hang out with us. What time does this go till, Morgan?
It goes till 7 p.m.
So this is 5 to 7 p.m. And then after that, you are free to take one of Brandon Hill's recommendations, anyone's recommendations, to go to dinner in the area with whoever you would like that's not named me. So I'm as the bridezilla of this whole thing. I love all of you, but I have to manage my own energy and voice. So you guys can all get together. You can go to small groups? What are we doing about the reservations, Morgan, Brandon, team?
Absolutely. We'll be making reservations for after all of our networking events in the evening of Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So just come to any team member if you'd like to use one of them.
Well, any kickoff party questions? It's a great time to connect with campers, sponsors, your fellow speakers. That's 5 to 7. Your boost buddies are in charge of knowing when you're coming in. So I am a whole thing, right? You can probably tell that, Laura. I'm like a tornado of friendliness. So I do say there's a lot happens behind the stage with offstage Paul. You guys want to come see offstage Paul? Mitchell's seen offstage Paul before. Offstage Paul is different than this Paul. Okay. It's a Disney term. When you're in the Magic Kingdom, it's magical. When you're in how the Magic Kingdom works, for them to do their magic, they got to have some offstage stuff. And offstage is done with respect and care. But it's like, hey, Marissa, what time's your boost buddies people coming in? And they go, Darcy never got back to me. I say, call her on the phone right now. Right now, call her on the phone. So if you're a speaker, you want to make your boost buddy not feel the intensity of the friendly tornado, you will say, I'm going to be in at 3 p.m. on Thursday, because we have this all mapped out on our schedule. When Darcy comes in, when Laura comes in, boost buddies, anything you want to say about that? Who's Mitchell's boost buddy again? Morgan Bellis?
Morgan Bellis.
Okay. And also, if you're running late, you can totally text your boost buddy, not me, things like, will there be scones for breakfast? Okay. I just want to share. That's literally like walking up to a dentist while they're prepping 3 teeth, tapping them on the shoulder and asking them when the next hygiene appointment is. You're like, could you please ask my front desk? So somebody, I don't know, who is this person? I was running this giant event. I was about to go on stage and someone texted me directly, what was the Wi-Fi password? Raise your hand if you're that person. That was Darcy. She thought in the moment when there was 148 people in a room and one person, me, was going to go up and start the event, that she wanted to make sure she wasn't roaming or using any of her internet stuff. And she said, what's the Wi-Fi password? I'm going to text Paul. And then I'll call him out right now. Christian Reinecker texted me in the last event, what time does breakfast start at 6:30 a.m.? He thought he ignored every email, he ignored everything, every text. What time is breakfast? We are going to make that great link thing, right, Morgan, like we made before, and Marissa, like we did for Level Up, where we could just like the whole schedule of events for everybody.
I just needed to make sure you had a future great example of what not to
Right,
do.
thank you.
That's what I was doing.
Our Friday is 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. with a networking event on site at the Spice Finch. So it's a whole day of content. You can go to the next one, Morgan Bellis. Saturday feels very much like the same thing. We have the our trademark, I don't know if it's trademark, but it's our unique sip and stroll where we bake a grandmother happy hour into the event so people don't leave and they talk to sponsors and walk around. I don't think Darcy's experienced that. Yeah, no, she did. We had that for Travis. We will have assigned seats for lunch, right, Morgan?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, so our goal is to get you connected with people that you don't know, to develop awesome relationships. Find CR, not centric relation, that's made up, but cool relationships. Next. Sunday is an opportunity, not an obligation. Raise your hand if you're on the Dentist Job Connect team here. So these are our Dentist Job Connect team members: Kate, Director of Strategic Growth; Morgan Rake, and Serena, Success Coordinators, help with sales, social media. So we have a Sunday themed career day. Todd Fleischman, who's flying back from Turks and Caicos, will be presenting the new patient experience, how to develop relationships, and photography. So you are welcome to watch it online as you go to the airport, but we also would love for you to be there. There's no cost to be there. You just come and put your bodies in the room from like the 9 to 1 p.m. time. That, though, is not an obligation if you have to go back to where you're from. It's just an opportunity. There will be the Boost campers that will be there. They have to be there. And then we'll be bringing in dental students and new dentists from the area to be there. We have a special mimosa time too. Next one, Morgan. So the checklist for success: submit your head presentation title and description, your headshot, your bio, send us your arrival and departure time. Our team will give your Boost buddies in charge of giving you a easy to use email that you can send to your grandmother, or everyone on your email list about you speaking here. Marissa, anything you want to say about that?
I don't think so. I think I have everything from the people here that we need.
Okay, great. We're going to leave time for creative questions. Morgan, is there anything else after this? Is this the last one? Perfect. So what questions can we answer for you about the event? You can stop share, Morgan, because I like when I see everyone's faces big. I don't like them all like just mishmashed here on the side. So Darcy, Laura Brenner doesn't have to do this. Mitchell, it's very hard to get out of a hygiene exam. Have you ever felt stuck in a hygiene exam, Mitchell, where they're telling you about their cat's quinceanera or why their sister hates them? And you're like, I don't know if this is for me, but you're like, I don't know how to get out of here. So I always say, hey, Laura, one quick thing. What questions can I answer for you about your night guard, your bone shrinkage? What questions can I answer? And it makes you say, it's not, do you have any questions? What questions can I answer? And that's how I get out of the hygiene exam, right? Darcy, you say, how much is my insurance going to cover? I say, Kate handles that. So Mitchell, what questions can I answer for you about your speaker experience? The entire event.
Obviously it could go whenever or whatever. We're ready for you to do the Paul thing and kind of say, okay, you go now, but are we sure it's Saturday that we're doing this thing?
Mark, your special person is coming potentially on Friday to see you. So we want to put you in a spot where he won't miss you.
Oh, I'm going to be there from Thursday on.
Yeah.
I was just curious that it's not going to be Sunday though, because that's going to be Todd and the whole
Not
other thing.
Sunday, yeah.
Okay,
None of you are for
That's all right.
Sunday, just Todd, not Sunday. So your special person who's supporting this is striving to come. So that's why.
Yeah, no,
There's
I'll definitely be there. And also if you need, if you just decide impromptu to do like a sit down or a Q&A or what with them and you want me to do something, let me know.
We have some end of the time panel opportunities.
Yeah.
Laura runs events. I've reframed my thoughts on this. A lot of speakers don't like to go last in an event, but Jim Kashmer makes a good point that people remember the first thing that you said and the last thing that you said. So when I was at an event recently, the cleanup speaker does get a special spot, right? Where you kind of get to imprint your message before everybody leaves. That being said, I usually take those spots with panels and other things so that people get to see you before then. Darcy, what questions can I answer about your first of many speaking events?
When I go up, I know we're doing a mix. You're going to come up at the end. Is it kosher to have should I bring it on a USB if I have anything I want to put up on the screen?
Awesome question for Andrew and Marissa. Andrew, what would you share? What would make your anxiety decrease with Darcy's presentation? I'm going to share in a minute, but I want you to say.
So we will have our AV table set up. We obviously want to get a look of what you're going to put on there first and foremost, so we can add it to your speaking session and we can manage it for you. You can just give us a thumbs up or a cue and we'll throw that special thing up for you if you would like. Whatever works best for you, but if we could have it ahead of time to have it ready to go in the presentation.
I would like to set this up because I get asked this all the time and I sometimes am very inconsistent. Send us something by the Monday of the event. So that means that if you lose the USB, send us something by the Monday and we're glad to replace it if you come up with new stuff. So that would be really valuable. Send us something so that we have it. There's a lot of behind the scenes putting up of stuff. So perfect. A great question, Darcy. If you're bringing guests, like someone you're married to, a friend's coming, they're welcome to participate in the networking events at no cost. If you want someone to sit there the entire time, we might have to do lab costs for their food. I don't think anybody is doing that, but I'm saying that for other people. So let's just say somebody says, I want my husband there sitting next to me the entire time, eating breakfast, lunch, sip and stroll. Morgan Bells will come up with the lab cost for their food price. There is no cost for them to come to Spice Finch and have drinks. There's no cost for them to come to the kickoff event. And I don't know if anybody's spouse wants to see them the entire time anyway, but that was just, I'm saying that for anyone on this later. Good one. Laura Brenner, what questions can I answer for you about your speaking experience?
I don't think I have any questions about that. maybe just if you guys have anything you want me to promote, if you could send me like copy or anything like that, I'm happy to post it in my group anytime.
I'll
Awesome.
jump in here. I was gonna say, after this meeting, I'm gonna send you guys like your Zoom backgrounds, which Laura sees, you already have yours up, so amazing, overachiever. So your Zoom background, email copy to send out, some like social copies. So we can send that out for you guys to share. And if you have any questions about that, you can let me know. Oh, and the last thing I was gonna bring up was I sent a request for like some questions so we can use some of your answers as promo. I'm gonna turn some of them into blogs for our website as well, but I'll resend that as well so you guys can have a chance to look at those questions and get some answers back to us.
Now, go ahead, Laura, sorry.
I just had one thing, and then after you write that blog,
Mhm.
share it with us so we can promote it.
Yeah, absolutely, will do.
That's
Now,
all.
Mitchell, you go.
Yeah, if it would also be possible, just because it might be helpful to, once you're solid with it, send us a list of, if you can, of all the sponsors that are going to be there for the event, just because obviously we're not getting up and doing commercials, we're doing our especially, but
Yeah.
if something is coincident or we, it's going to make sense to mention them, it just might be good to just be able to kind of seemingly add a
Yeah,
little bit of
and
input.
Mitchell's a pro too, and I do this, like, when I was at the ASD, I was talking about dental warranty, and it's not like you can't mention ever
Right.
any person. You say, so everyone knows dental warranty is one of my nacho sponsors, because it's like, if I say, hey, one way to get your hygiene booked is to use something that helps you book your hygiene. One of the things I use is Dental Intel, and they're totally a sponsor of what I do. That's totally kosher. It just should be like sprinkled. It shouldn't be like,
Right.
It shouldn't be like, and now here's how you use Dental Intel, and here's how the buttons
Right.
work. I will share.
Not as a thing to kind of put in, but just so you kind of have an advance. I
Yeah.
might just give a quick shout out to somebody. It just might be nice to know who's going to be there.
Who likes to make money for doing nothing? Literally nothing. Okay, all of us. So Darcy, you could be new to this game. Mitchell is a seasoned veteran. Laura is in the middle here. I have all dental nachos. This is your give to me, and my give back to you by kind to come and speak. And there's not really honorariums, but we're putting you in front of like thousands of people. So I feel very good about the giving back and forth on these things in this experience, right? And not but connecting us with sponsors and people who can sponsor you and sponsor our group creates affiliate opportunities, creates reward opportunities that we're totally transparent about with anyone. I'm transparent with the sponsors. So if you got Nike to sponsor you, Darcy, for this event, I would say, hey, we're going to give Darcy part of the Nike sponsorship, right? And you got, I do want AHA, the seltzer water, to sponsor us. So one of the things that you could do is I'll try to make this evergreen without dental companies, but Darcy, there's a company that is moving about as slow as my grandmother getting ready for brunch that you've connected to me 4 times. And I said, you guys should be there. And they don't seem to get what we do. So one of the things that you might want to do is say, hey, grandma company, do you want to watch me on this thing? Because maybe next year they're sponsoring your whole trip. Maybe Mitchell knows this world. It's very genuine. It's what they should be doing a lot of times for the brand awareness you create for them. Dr. Sonia Chopra is an expert at this. I am very good at this. So I'm just using an example. Somebody wants me to go speak at XYZ conference, and they're like, we have $5, right? I'm like, okay, I've heard that before. I'll say, hey, one of my sponsors might support me in doing this. It's not, I won't do a commercial for them, but when I'm there, I'm going to infuse throughout the event that you've helped me. So I'm just saying, and Laura knows this world too. So Laura, like some of your sponsors, you might say, hey, check me out on this, because maybe next year they'll want to do something meaningful. And if they do a table or they do a big sponsorship, I'm thrilled to share in that awesomeness with you guys.
One more question. If there's anything, Center, we've had a couple of conversations, but it kind of sparked the question when Laura was talking, is if there's anything like very specific that you are like, Darcy, I want you to talk about this when you're talking. If you could let me know that would be great.
I mean, the thing that you said here, it was really heartwarming to me, your colleague who said they enjoyed what you talked about when we did the Boost promo. So I love that whole theme that gets compressed, right? Your story, the awesome parts, the annoying parts, your treatment plan is really your story's awesome, right? Practice owner who practice owner who had on paper all the things that would make you smile all the time. Why were you crying inside? Why are more people crying inside? One of my favorite people, like a Darcy, older than you, she said, "Hey, Paul, I'm collecting $100,000 a month. I'm a mom and I'm pretty miserable. And everyone says that I should be happy, but I'm not happy because to run at this pace and do these things." So I think it was one of my best emails, is being successful too stressful for dentists. And I think we've all felt that. So that theme is great. I know Laura has burnout. Mitchell's going to be in technology. So in our last 10 minutes, who besides Mitchell and I, who is a big fan of Hamilton? So after the intermission is always key to get people back. And they have Thomas Jefferson, who plays Lafayette in the beginning, come back, and he comes back from France, and his whole song is so good. What did I miss, right? What did I miss when he was over there in France and everybody was winning the American Revolutionary War? So Nacho team, Job Connect team, Boost team, what did I miss here? Is there anything that I missed that you wanted to add? Social media, Job Connect, Philadelphia. Greg, did I miss anything as far as you're concerned?
You covered everything.
Cool. This is Kate's first boost. Anything I missed, Kate, that you thought to know?
No, this was great. Very informative.
Serena, I mean, the Job Connect team is going to be on a panel, so you guys got the dual part of, and Brandon too, of speaker thing. Anything, Brandon, Serena, Andrew, Morgans?
You got it all.
All right, awesome. Well, this is one of my favorite things to do in the summer. I think it's great to do in August. We are here to make the 3 F's happen: food, fun, and friends in Philly. So if we don't have anything else, you guys can go to your next segment of your Friday, and hope you guys have an awesome holiday weekend.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
All right, not to
Nice
stop
seeing
recording, and
everybody.
then we'll talk for a minute. Awesome, guys. Thanks for your time. Really excited.